Hi guys, my name is Siobhan Evans-Egan. I'm a spiritual psychic medium and shamanic healer, and I'm an admin of the International Mediumship page, which this video I will be sharing there. And before I do any videos on any subject, it is always from my own experience. This is the only way that I can talk about it. So if something comes up and it's a topic and you're like, oh, I don't agree with that, you're allowed that because it's something that you're experiencing. So I do these talks every now and again. It's been a while since I got to post on the International Mediumship page for the mediumship community. So one of these videos that I'm doing today is I want to talk about expectations and how, as psychic mediums and healers, how we either deal with expectations of our clients and also how we deal with our own expectations on how we feel that we should be in our readings and how they can cause a blockage in our spiritual growth or personal development and affect our readings. And that's kind of it. I've no cure for it, but I just want to talk about it and bring it up. So for me, my struggle in working with clients in a one-to-one basis or demonstrations or anything like that in shape or form with my spiritual work was dealing in my mind about other people's expectations. What would they expect from me? What do they expect a psychic medium reading to be? How they expect me to behave? What do they expect to get from it? There were a lot of things that would have frightened me, and really was part of my personal struggle, especially when it came to like psychic work. What's expected of a psychic? Are they supposed to predict the future? Are they supposed to give the lotto numbers? I was raised in Ireland, and I was raised with the culture of those who were seers or readers in any way, shape, or form, or healers. It was always passed down through generation. It could be from a seventh son of a seventh son, or one member of the family would have a healing from like warts and things like that. So for me, being raised up as a Catholic, I was raised to believe that people who did this work were frauds, not working for the highest good, and I suppose taking advantage of people, which was very difficult for me to take on and understand, because for me this was normal and natural, and it made me feel unnatural that I wasn't able to express this. So my expectations of being psychic were, I was raised, looked around people, you go to a mobile home or a caravan and someone have a crystal ball, and I always assumed they would predict my future. And I lived by that. If they said, oh, this is going to happen, that I'd wait for the dates, I would live by those dates. So expectations, what expectations do you have on yourself as a psychic? What do you think that is? What do you feel that is? If you're going for a reading, what expectations, what do you feel a psychic should be, act, or behave? So these are a lot of the things that we're dealing with. As a medium and as a healer, I have to deal with my own emotions, my own fears, my own doubts, and all that sort of stuff. And then as soon as you step into work with the public on a one-to-one or demonstrations, you are dealing with everyone's expectations or one person. So you're dealing with that all the time. So it is a very good idea to prepare your readings and to prepare your client or to prepare your audience. In a sense, to let them know what is going to take place, how you work, um, how the reading's going to go. You can't predict what is actually going to be said, but in that sense you're preparing them a little bit, but you still cannot cure them of expectations or visions that they have in their head of what you're going to look like, be, and behave, which is crazy. It's hard to deal with. So my expectations on being psychic compared to what they actually naturally are, like feelings of intuitive, very strong feelings of intuitive, of knowing, and knowing that this person is going to, knowing that this, I feel this is going to happen. Yes, sometimes I would have dreams. Yes, other people do have predictions where things do happen, but it is not all about future fortune telling. And I do feel in the last few years working with this community, people are changing, the concept is changing, and there's starting to be a better understanding. People are getting more educated on what that means to be psychic, and really tapping into our six senses. In mediumship and healing, in, I suppose, in training, going to classes, we're taught to work on those senses, like your clairvoyance, your clairsentience, and things like that, are natural five senses that we use in a normal day. But with psychic and medium work, we tap into them even deeper, um, even deeper. So we're more sensitive to people's energy. So psychic work, there is a lot of expectations. I remember meeting a lady a long time ago, and the first thing she said to me was, "Oh, I heard you're psychic." I was like, "Oh, great." And she says to me, "Do you know what I'm thinking? What am I thinking now?" And I'm like, "Okay." But sometimes you actually do know what people are thinking. So it is kind of hard to put into place, into words. But how do you feel about yourself being psychic? Are you comfortable with it? Are you fearful of what people think you should know? When you tell people, are you psychic, how does people change around you? Are they uncomfortable? So there's a lot of stuff that comes, and a lot of responsibility and feelings that does come with being um letting the world know that you're working as a psychic medium or healer. I'm going to say healer. We are all healers. We just use different aspects of that through mediumship and through our psychic work, whatever way that takes. So dealing with expectations, how many people have gone to you for a medium reading and they go, "Oh, I kind of thought so and so would come in there. Well, I didn't really want them." So it's so important to set up your reading as you need to go on, and allowing and letting people know to, I always say to them, you might have one particular person in mind that you really, really want to connect with. There could be loads of family that want to come through. So please be open to allow this to take place. And a lot of the times they'll say, yeah, 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 but their mind is shut and they're still hoping for that one. Now, more often it always happens, but it's dealing with people's expectations. How do they affect you as a reader? And as a client going for a reading, have you been let down? Like, have you built up readings too much in your head and then you go there and it's completely different from what you expected? So, and it's even in our ordinary day lives, expectations that we put on things. I have learned not to do that. I have built myself up so many times that this is going to be this and this is going to be that. And it will turn out how it's meant to turn out. But more often I'm disappointed, was disappointed. Now, I do be surprised, happily surprised, because I don't put expectations on it, on my life things. But in readings, like as a medium, what do you expect as a medium? I feel that a lot of people, and I hear this through working with students throughout the years, working with tarot, teaching classes, and I always come across this. We judge ourselves by the amount of years that we're doing this work, and we feel that we should be at a particular level, should be doing this, should be doing that, and all those shoulds wreck our heads. All those shoulds are judgments and ego parts of ourselves. For me, being a medium, it's unfolding, and it is unfolding for the rest of my life. It's a natural unfoldment. I'll always be growing. I'll always be expanding. I'll never stay the same. So for those that came for reading 10 years ago and come for reading now, it's going to be completely different because I'm completely different. And we have to allow ourselves to go through that. I used to think because I started this path 20 years ago that I should be like on super, super power levels. So untrue. And we get disappointed and hard on ourselves if we're still struggling with our mediumship. I still struggle with communication. I still struggle with my evidence, and I probably always will because I'm human and I have to work on my human self to get out of the way. And so having expectations on ourselves, if they're too harsh, too hard, and we're not living up to them, look at that. What are you comparing yourself to? Who are you comparing yourself to? But as I said, with the psychic part was harder for me to accept than the medium part. It was natural for me to be aware that people have passed over and that people can talk to us. It was natural for me to believe that some people were gifted, but now I understand that every single one of us have the potential to connect in with those in spirit world because we are from spirit. A lot of us don't do the work, which is absolutely fine. It's a choice. Well, it's a choice for some people. I didn't feel it was a choice because I felt by shutting that part down and not listening to it or not working on it, I was miserable. So when I start tuning into my natural self and who I am and who I was at the time, it naturally unfolded into psychic and mediumship work and healing work. So what expectations are you putting on yourself that you can't live up to? What expectations are you putting other readers on that they're not living up to? Have you gone for a reading just to judge? Some people have. I've often seen over the years when I've gone to demonstrations, I'm sitting back, and I have been one of those people sitting back judging the medium because I expect that medium to be at a certain level. And sometimes I am disappointed and sometimes I am blown away. But it's my expectations, they're judgments. I expect a person who stands up in demonstrations should be able to have the qualities of dealing with the public, being able to keep the attention of all the audience, um, evidence, know what they're doing, and sometimes that doesn't happen, and that's okay. But that's my expectations and what I'm putting onto that person. So I do feel for me, it blocked me for years. It still does affect me sometimes if I'm being hard on myself or I'm judging myself that I should be a particular way, a particular style, but I'm just not. I'm myself. So expectations, how do they block your work? How do you put pressure on yourself in a sense? So I just wanted to bring up this topic of conversation, because it does affect us. It really, really does. We expect people to behave a certain way and they let us down. And that's our expectations. We expect people in authority figures to behave a certain way and sometimes they don't. We're let down. So how are your expectations in your personal life, medium life, or healing life, whatever that is, affecting you? How is it, if you're feeling stuck and you're feeling in a place that you're just not happy, maybe look at what your expectations are. Maybe look at what judgments you're putting on yourself to be. And just have a look at that. So I just felt I just wanted to bring this conversation up. It's short and sweet, but I would love to hear if one of you, any of you, want to comment, especially on this, is where you are now, right now, in your development, in your spiritual work. Are you happy? Is there more work for you to do? Are you putting more expectations on yourself to reach and things like that? Just thought I'd ask. But as I said, in Ireland, for me, psychic work, I blocked myself and was terrified of psychic readings because I used to think if people are coming for a psychic reading, they're going to expect me to tell them future stuff and future things. And I wasn't really receiving that information. I was more working with the now and what's going on and the potential future, what can come from these decisions right now in the moment. And I feel from my own experience over the years, that's all I can work from. But there's all different types of healers and different ways in which you receive information. And so some can predict and some can do that. It doesn't mean you can't. I personally work with the now. Yes, I get snippets, of course I do. And yes, I get knowings, and I honor them. But sometimes my feelings might be, I know this is going to happen. Oh my God, I'm going to expect dread. And it doesn't work out that way. So it's always tap back in, be grounded, take a breath, and stay real, stay present. But it's important as readers in our work, we have to deal with the expectations of others. And sometimes, yes, they're disappointed. Sometimes they're more blown away because they weren't expecting certain things. So you're always going to be dealing with that. So how do you deal with that? The very same way you deal with life. Your response to it is your choice. I can respond to someone being disappointed in a reading and it can shut me down. I can think, oh my God, I'm shit, I'm never doing this again. Or I can just accept I did not live up to that person's expectations. Probably no one can. But that's so okay. It's okay for me to feel that way. If someone gets blown away by a reading, I get so excited. Oh my God, it was amazing. And then I expect my next reading to be just as powerful, and then I'm disappointed. So it's expectations, how they can disappoint us in a sense, or I don't know what we live up against. So just how it affected me, as I said, it did block me and it kept me from enjoying my work. It affected my confidence, it affected my self-esteem. Once you work in public, you are open to that, you are vulnerable to that. People have expectations on certain things. So as I said, it's so important to set up your readings, your healings, and to set the person up in what is about to take place, how you work. So all you can do is your part to play in it in as such, but you have no control over what that person expects. Just as I said, you can prepare them a little bit, and how you deal with those expectations, how you deal with the disappointments, how you deal with all of that is entirely personal development and is entirely up to you. So you can use it for spiritual growth, to allow you to grow and to unfold, or it can keep you stuck and restrict it. We will never ever live up to anyone's expectations. We never. It's bloody impossible, because every single person out there has a different perception and a different need and a different want. And we will always disappoint. And we will also always uplift and surprise people. So there's always that, but it always comes down to you, the person, individual, on how you respond to certain reactions, and how you see yourself and how you treat yourself, and the expectations in which you put on you to behave. So just that was the subject I bring up. I'll leave that with you. Hope everyone is keeping well, and take care. God bless.